Yeah, looks like I got it all. Hey, welcome back, folks. How you guys doing today? Glad you joined me again in the continuing saga of Kimber 10mm auto government model ammunition issues and what we might be able to do to alleviate some of them. Now, if you watched the first two videos, you remember in that first initial video talking about just getting ready to tune the pistol up, seeing what kind of ammo it might not like, testing a few loads just for function through the weapon to see it. And sure enough, we found some that it wasn't all too happy with from the standpoint of slide lock to the rear in place of full mag, hit the slide release lever and wouldn't want to close properly, or would close somewhat, what I would describe as clunkily, or have the feel of just as about halfway closed, you could feel the nose of the bullet actually contact the ramp and make the slide want to pause, but then go ahead and close. Intermittent, hard closing. So I did a little experimenting and found out that certain profile bullets with this government model that worked fine right off the store shelf in my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 and 10mm, like I fully expected to have to do, what I fully expected to encounter with some of this ammunition was the fact that certain bullet profiles at certain specific factory industry standard lengths might or might not work so well in a government model. Tight precision government model weapons can be finicky, and you got to figure out what it is they like to eat, or figure out what you can do to alleviate its finickiness so that it will eat anything you want to put in it. Sometimes that can be an intensive search of a lot of different brands of ammunition and bullet types, weights, and seating depths. But anything you buy from the factory is going to be seated to an industry standard so that it can work in any pistol, or most any pistol. Well, being a government model shooter of over 40 years, I've come to find out, and I came to find out a long time ago, there's things you can do to alleviate that so that you don't have to spend that much money on factory ammo. And especially if you're a hand loader, someone that can actually armor out a government model, someone that can set their ammunition to the standard and the length that they need for top level performance from that weapon, well, you really don't have any issues. If you don't have that expertise, if you don't have this equipment and the things to do that, it can be a little kind of a pain. You'll find stuff it likes, and maybe you'll get lucky sometimes and pick one up that'll eat anything you feed it right off the shelf. And if you do, you have indeed found a unicorn. Okay, so what I've done tonight, what we're going to do tonight, what we're looking at is, we've had a couple of days of serious rain, hail, tornadoes, and all sorts of other crap that's kept me inside, and that opened up some spare time for me. So in that spare time, I did what I alluded to doing in the second video at the range, which was go home, look at that, grab my inertial bullet pullet hammer and get busy. And boy did I get busy, because I had 400 rounds whack to lengthen and then reset in my seating / taper crimp die for 10mm. This puppy got a workout the last 2 days, and she's still rolling strong. Handy little tool. So I basically whacked out 400 rounds. I didn't pull the bullets. You just hit it hard enough to move the bullet forward from its seating point far enough that you can reseat it at the seating depth you're wanting, and you're good to go. It's not like you're having to tear the bullet apart or anything. Most of you guys in the loading industry know. And I took the time to do that, and also at the same time I got in my closet and got some of my other loads that have bullet profiles that are much easier for this weapon to work with in its operational geometry. And I also picked up a couple boxes of some brand new factory Federal. And I'll show you a little point of interest about those. If you've been seeing them on the shelves, the Federal 180 FMJ flat points, a little point of interest I'm going to point out to you on that. So basically, what we're going to do is demonstrate the process I used to turn them chitty bullets into bullets that work just fine from the very get-go. You can take those bullets, put them in a magazine, put the magazine in the gun, hand operate from the front, and they'd feed and then they'd shoot just fine. But now and then they'd kind of hang up because they're just a little short, and the gun didn't like that. So without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Now, yep, that's an S&B 180 truncated cone style bullet. Right out of the factory box, no modification. Now, in your Hornady book, your Nosler book, most of your reloading data books throughout the industry, you'll find that bullets of this weight and this bullet design and the Hornady XTPs themselves are all recommended to be seated for a cartridge overall length, tip to back, 1.260 inches. That's an industry standard. Well, this gun doesn't really like them at 1.260. It loves the hell out of them at 1.268 to 1.270. This is one of the S&Bs. Don't want that to move on you. That thing comes out of the box 12 thousandths shorter than industry standard. That's gonna suck. So we're gonna pull it, we're gonna whack her a little bit and move her forward. And then we're gonna run her and one of her sisters through that die and see, can we tell a difference. We're gonna try them before and after. You thought 4.8 was bad. There's one at 4.6. How about that for hijinks? Jesus Christ. Of course, it's range ammo. It's S&B. It's not supposed to be precision grade stuff. I know that. All right. So, get out of the way for I run over it again. Get the hammer ready. I'm going to grab a magazine that has, this is a 9-round Chip McCormick shooting star. Let me tell you right now, we're on the subject of magazines. This is the Kimber factory magazine. It's an 8-round magazine. It functions great. I have 2 Chip McCormick shooting star 9-round magazines. They work great. They work just as good as any Wilson, and Bill Wilson will tell you so. In fact, they released a video today. And in a small portion, they mentioned magazines, and Masada Ayub asked him about magazines, and he says, which magazines would he recommend? Bill Wilson himself said this on the video today. Wilson Combat Mags or Chip McCormick? Yeah, baby. All right. It's a 9-round magazine, and it is loaded completely full. You can't push it any further. I'm going to take 1 round out, and it's one of those that I stretched out, so I can't use it. I'm going to leave the rest in there and grab this one that was pretty short, put it on top. And we're going to try to demonstrate and recreate phenomenon I am speaking of. Empty weapon, slide lock to the rear, magazine locked in place, and we are just literally pulling down the slide lock lever. Short stop, the bad kind, the kind that really fucks you up. Okay? No bueno, Jose, no bueno. That's the first short one. Let's grab the other one. Full mag. Nothing touching that slide but nothing. That one went. It's at 48, not the 46. But you heard it kind of go clack instead of chomp. It went clack. That is the interrupted feeding process that I'm talking about. That's a sound you'll hear. And when you hear it enough, you'll recognize it every time you hear it. All right, and now they're both even a little shorter now. But that's okay, because we're going to stretch them back out. You can stretch a bullet if you know how. All right? Now, to demonstrate what I was talking about, hand charging without using the slide lock lever. Another factory, unmodified. And it's even shorter than the first two. I don't know how this is going to work or not. It's 20 thousandths shorter than industry standard, which makes me wonder. Another full 9-round mag, has 8 in it. This is going to make 9. And you saw me do this on the range. That magazine is locked in place. Now we're not going to throw the slide lock lever. We're just going to operate and charge the weapon by hand without the lever. Works like a champ. And those rounds will shoot for the most part, but during firing, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few times you would experience failures to feed. And that's no bueno. Okay? That is no bueno. Now that bullet's so damn short, it's going to have to get stretched out. So we got them 3. They're all short, way short. Let's stretch a bullet, shall we? How many people that aren't used to doing this went, holy fuck! Did you just do that? Yeah, I did. Done it thousands of times. These tools are designed to do exactly that. Pull bullets or stretch them. I admit, you can get nervous the first few times you do it because it just seems totally like something you would not want to do. But it don't hurt nothing. And you don't have to swing it like you're trying to frame in a house. Just wrist action is all it takes. Just a little wrist action and baby, you're there. You notice I haven't had to whack any of these more than once. Okay, now we got 3 really long bullets that won't even go in the magazine. We're going to run them through our seating die that's been set and adjusted so that these rounds should come out at a variance of 1.268, 1.270 in that neighborhood, which is fine for operation in the magazine. That's already been tested. Alright. Due to bullet length, we might have to adjust that die a little bit. 63. These are long cases. 64. 64 and a half. So we've already moved these bullets back from their original starting point anywhere from 15 to 25 thousandths. And that's a lot when it comes to seating depth. All right. But they need to be just a little longer. So we're going to back that up a little bit, re-whack in bullets so that we can set them at the length we need. I can also feel that the taper crimp portion of this die, because these cases are short, isn't engaging the case to taper crimp. Therefore, we'll have to adjust that too, but that doesn't take long at all. It goes pretty fast. We're going to get them where we want them, and I will demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. In fact, just those little light whacks are moving these bullets a lot more than they should. So yeah, there's hardly no taper crimp on these cases whatsoever from the factory, which is foobar, in my opinion, for a semi-auto cartridge. They need a taper crimp if you're going to be running them in a gun. Alright. We back that up just a hair. Let's see where it puts this one. And we're going to do our best to bring it in without having to make a whole lot of extra adjustments. 1273, 75. .72. Still got the touch. Remember, we want to hit somewhere between 1.270 and 1.268. There's 1.270 right there. So now we're going to adjust so that we can seat the other three without having to do this that way. And I can feel there's no tension on this, so it's barely getting some of the taper crimp. Not much. Now we've got the bullet at the length we want. We tighten that for the length we want. That portion of it is set. Now we're not going to adjust taper crimp on it. We can do that separately. Coming up just about 1/1000th off where I want them. Six, 8, 6, 7, 6, 6. Close enough. All right, full mag except for one. Completely full. That's it. And the crimp caught a little bit of it, so that's all right. Let's listen for the sound this time. Choke. Hear that? Choke. And you can see the slide actually moved faster. There was no ka-chunk, it was chunk. That is a cartridge that is in the specified lengths variants. Full mag. Cut. Not a bunch of ka-chunk, clack, whack. There, home in one smooth motion. Full mag, slide down, hand charge. That sounds just like my 38 Super. Yay, yay, baby. All right. Got that accomplished. Now, stand by. I'm going to adjust the camera angle, and I'm going to show you what we talk about in these different types of bullets. Their profiles, their designs, and just the minor differences that you probably won't even see with the naked eye. Stand by. Alrighty, we back. Now, I've got those set up against that white card so you can get a better view of the profile of those bullets. And go ahead and just on your left right here, that's the S&B, the 180 grain truncated cone flat point. That's the one that this pistol has the greatest amount of issues with. And the reason I wanted to do that tedious little loading portion in real time was to demonstrate that we had 3 bullets, 3 cartridges that did not want to work from the get-go, and in just a matter of a few minutes we turned them into things that will work the way they're supposed to. We used bullets that started out with seating depths averaging anywhere between 1.240 and 1.246, and that's well below industry standard by loading books. I don't know exactly what the industry standard would be as far as SAMI is concerned, but I would think SAMI would want at least something in the 1.255 or 1.26. Now the bullet to its right, this right here, that is one of my 180 grain FMJ extreme bullets. Now you'll notice that although it has a very wide flat tip, just like the S&B next to it, the profile of the jacket of the bullet shows that instead of being just coming straight out at an angle from the case, like a clipped off pyramid, it actually comes up straighter and has a much more gentler curve to the top of the bullet. Those feed like candy to a 2-year-old kid. This bullet here is the same profile style bullet, and it is one of the Federal 180 grain factories, like these right here, that I picked up the other day. It has the same bullet profile, it is seated at the same depth, and it works just as slick as that meat hammer of mine does. This, to its right, is the Hornady 155 grain XTP. Now you'll notice that its bullet profile, if you had to say it was like one of the 2 previous profiles, you'd have to say it was shaped more like the truncated cone S&B than it is the Extreme, and that is probably one of the main reasons why I had to stretch those out from 1.260 to 1.270. And now, zip through that gun just like gas through a hose. Now the bullet on the extreme right, this lead projectile here, that is a full profile, round nose, small flat point, hard cast lead, 180 grain bullet. And it is seated at 1.270, and they run through there like candy. I won't be able to shoot them as hot as I can jacketed bullets, but they'll be damn good range ammo, and they'll certainly be damn good competition ammo if they're an accurate bullet, and I've got a couple thousand of those bad boys lined up. So that's the main difference we're looking at. Now, I alluded in the previous scene to a little issue that I noticed on these bullets right here. You see them primers? Those are small pistol primers. Every other 10mm auto case I've ever loaded has had large pistol primer pockets. Not these. So, I had to put labels on the boxes. Now I know that if when I go out to shoot those, when I'm picking up my brass, I gotta cull them out and put them in a separate tub because I can't mix them up with my other shit. That kind of sucks. And I don't know why they went to that unless it's just easier to get small primers maybe. Hell, I don't know. It would seem to me that it wouldn't be any easier to get 10mm auto brass with small primer pockets. I don't know. I'm not in the industry, so I can't tell you, but it's just weird. So be on the lookout for that Federal 10mm Auto 180 FMJ. Open the box. If you're the kind of person that doesn't want to use small pistol primers in his 10mm Auto, because let's face it, you really need a large pistol primer in 10mm Auto to really get the complete burn rate that you need out of a 5-inch barrel. So, I don't know, caveat emptor, but if you don't mind them, if you just need some range ammo to burn, and you don't really give a shit, go for it, man. It's, you know, I bought 2 boxes, it was only $76 freaking dollars. Fuck, I tell you, my life. Alright, so that's what the profiles look like. Let's bounce back from here and get the camera reset, and we'll go a little further on our deep dive into the factory Kimber 10mm Auto with slight modifications. Stand by. Okay, welcome back. So I hope you can see the differences, those bullet profiles, and the fact that there's 3 different bullets there and they're all basically the same weight except for one, but its profile remains the same regardless of 155 or 180, because the only difference in that bullet, lengthwise for the weight, is it's longer at the back, not the front. So the profile remains the same, and the seating crimp area remains the same. Profile above the crimp is the same. So now we're going to take a little deeper dive into what I was telling you about the finickiness of this weapon in comparison to other government models in just regular 45 ACP. Now, those of you that have ever looked at the back of a 45 ACP barrel recognize that, man, you're just looking at the back of the chamber. It's a hole, and there's a place at the bottom where it's being ground, and it's a little smooth lip right there, and that big old fat 45 just jumps in and out of it. It's short, it's fat, and bam, it just feeds in there with no assistance, no real assistance needed. But cartridges like 38 Super Auto, 10mm Auto, that have long cases for this style of weapon that are going to need a little assistance in reaching the chamber while it spends all that time flying through the air from the magazine, have to have what's called a fully supported ramped chamber. Alrighty then. And now a little deeper dive into what I was talking about in the comparison and the difference of standard government model barrels in 45 ACPs and the differences of high pressure cartridges that are somewhat longer, but not by much, in the same platforms. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, you'll notice on the far left, that is a stainless steel barrel from my 38 Super Auto. It has a full supported ramp. Next to it to the right is the barrel from the 10mm Auto. The full supported ramp, the same type of underlug, full-sized underlug and shroud, the whole 9 yards. And you'll notice on the right, that barrel doesn't have that ramp. Now you see the link, the recoil link below it. There's a link just like that in front of the ramps and the lugs of the other 2 barrels. You just can't see them, or you can barely see them hanging down just below the bottom of that bolster under the ramp. So this is the main difference. You'll see that the 45 barrel and most of your standard 45 barrels, the top lug is solid. There's no full ramp. And there's plenty of support for a 45 ACP cartridge. It's not a high pressure cartridge. It's a subsonic round. But when it comes to things like 9mm, 38 Super Auto, 9x22, 9x23, 10 mil auto, things like that, they require a little bit thicker chamber, as you can see. They require, due to the weapon's geometry and the dimensions of the cartridge, most times a fully supported, full ramped feeding area. And so that's the main difference. And because they require that type of ramp, because they require that extra material, weapons can load somewhat finically, if I said that right, in variance between different platforms for different calibers. So I hope that shows you something too. You'll also notice that the top lug on the 38 Super Auto and the 10 mil auto has that groove in it. You won't hardly see that on a 45, but you will normally see that on heavier chambered, full ramp supported weapons. And I cannot quote you exactly the source from each barrel manufacturers as to why they put that there, other than the fact that if you can look down in that groove from the top when the slide is closed, you could see a little shiny brass spot, and that might tell you that the weapon is loaded, unless you're using nickel, and then you wouldn't know. But if somebody does actually know what that is, chime in, leave a comment. All right, back to the main video. Okay, a lot of people don't know that's there. They never look on the inside of a gun until they're done playing with it, if they ever take it apart and clean it. So we'll give you this. Big old wise tip. If you really want to shoot government models, you really want to get into them and be an aficionado of them, take an armoring course in 45 autos. Take an armoring course in government model pistols. You're going to need it. You're going to want it. You're going to need to learn, and you're going to want to learn how to be able to take a factory pistol that costs $800+ in the store and do what's necessary to it to make it run like a $2,500 bill whistling champ. Because all my pistols will when I'm done, or I won't own them. Okay, so I hope that taught you a little bit. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you enjoyed it some. I hope you learned something new. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But I just wanted to impart that. And I know this was long and tedious and there wasn't no shooting, and that kind of sucks. But I'm going to be dropping another video this weekend. We're going to be making some noise. We're going to be burning some powder. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't make it through a pretty weekend without doing that. So thanks again for stopping by. Like I said, I hope you learned something from it. Please come back when you get the chance. Like, you know, I'm just an old redneck with a itty-bitty paycheck, and I haven't monetized on my channel. And frankly, I don't even know if I got enough subscribers to it. I don't know if I'd want to do it. But I do enjoy it when you guys stop by, especially when you leave comments. Hit that subscribe bell, hit that notification bell. At least kind of help the algorithm a little bit. I sound like Brandon Herrera or somebody. He's one of my heroes. So is Matt. But anyway, you folks have a great night. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have a great Mother's Day. I'm going to try to do the same, even though I'm not a mom. Y'all be good. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Love one another. And as always, I hope to see you folks somewhere downrange. Bye.